Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. Will you agree with our panel, or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. I am Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, is Claire Milan
Hello.
and Cahal Feeney.
Hello.
What's on the agenda this week, Claire?
So this week we sat down to watch a short film called Jospeh's Reel. It's written and directed by Michael Lavers and stars Robert Hardy, Alice Lowe, and Oliver Tilney. So it's a romantic fantasy about an elderly man. He's given an opportunity to live one day of his life. So he's given this opportunity to live one moment in his life, and he goes back and meets his wife as they're both a young man and young woman, and then he's like in a cinema and there's someone controlling the narrative, but he has to stick to the script, and then when he doesn't stick to the script, he kind of goes back to being an old man and tries to go back into the actual scripted part of his younger life and the days trying to relive. I won't spoil it, don't worry, there is something that happens. And I really, I thought it was a fascinating film. I absolutely loved the opening sequence. It was just one of the best opening sequences I've seen in a short film. It shows a beautiful wide shot of a field, and then this man, and the way the cinematography is with the grass, and then you see this man kind of screaming silently. It was really, really beautiful. And then when it switches back in time, in parts, I found it a little bit theatrical and verging on slightly a bit corny in parts. But I understand the message they were trying to get, but because the opening was so stunningly beautiful, my expectations were so high. And then when it kind of went into the past, I think though that was done on purpose, where the past looked very surreal. Possibly that was done on purpose, but there was something that jarred at me a little bit. But I did love the sequence where it showed the old man in the cinema. I love that I love sequences in old cinemas and with projection reels. There's something magical about that. And I thought the older man was terrific, but there was something about the two younger actors. There was something about them that jarred at me. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So I think it didn't have the effect I wanted, especially with the opening sequence. There was something just wasn't quite right. But the theme of it and the message was beautiful. Thinking about could we really relive one moment in our life, and go back in time. And yeah, that theme and message is beautiful, but there was something a little bit too sentimental about it for me. So what did you guys think of it?
Yeah, they were clearly trying to pull on the sentimental heartstrings with this one. I agree. I think it was shot really nicely, even the stuff in the past, but I feel like I have this theory on like why it kind of looked like that in the past, because to me it looked like it took part too long ago for how old this, it's like, did this take place in what, 1919 or something like that? Like the guy would be like freaking over 100 now. Like it's just so, but I'm thinking maybe they're basing it upon his memory. So you know how our memories distort things as we remember them. So maybe that's the way he remembers it. And so that's the way it's playing out, which could be. But then again, why is the projectionist there to make sure everything stays on track, kind of a thing? Which also all kind of ruins the point of living one day over again, because he really wasn't. He was, and she even said, like, she's like, but it's not really her. And it's like, well, then it's not really living the day over. And he was trying to change it. You kind of got hints as to why he was trying to change it, but they didn't fully tell you, and yeah, it was a bit kind of just disjointed for me. I think there was a lot of really good ideas in this, and it was a really creative film, but I think it just tried too hard for me.
Yeah.
I think is my problem.
I think that's quite interesting. You said it was too far back in the past. Like if they went
Yes.
back to the 60s, or
That would be
70s.
more believable versus, yeah,
Yeah, this looked like the
field
18, I don't know what year, 1910 or something.
something
But
like,
yeah, and then there was kind of a kind of dystopian feel to it a little bit.
yeah.
There was something weird, just jarred at me. I think that was it. But yeah, it'd be brilliant. It went back, as you said, the 60s or 70s. It would be more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Because that
Yeah.
song that they were playing, I mean, I don't know, what was it the 1930s that song
Well,
came out?
that's yes, a very famous song.
Famous song, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know that opening scene. Like, we don't know how long ago that was either. I mean,
Yeah.
that could have been 30 or 40 years ago too, because the cinema didn't look particularly modern. There was nothing in the contemporary setting that would make you believe that it was today. It could have been set, in the past as well. But for me,
Then they should have established that
Yeah,
in
there's
some
something,
way.
there's
To
something not
say
established.
this guy is
Yeah.
this age in 1980, or he needs to have a velvet jacket or something with big lapels.
yeah, maybe. But for me, I was surprised. This was a film that surprised me, because even though I didn't know what to expect, I didn't expect that. Like, because after a few minutes, you sort of realize, okay, this is something strange about this. This is not your run-of-the-mill sort of linear plot going on here. And I found it was a film that engages you, because you're trying to make sense of it, but you're appreciating it at the same time. And it also unsettles you, because you don't know what's going on, and you want to know what's going on. And it reminds me of sort of a David Lynch type film, with the sort of the cryptic dialogue and the non-linear storytelling. But ultimately, there is an emotional reward, which is bolstered by the realization that you've just seen something very good. That's what I thought. I mean, I know what you're saying, that there was a lot of things that they weren't explained, for want of a better word. But it's like a sort of a conundrum. Like, it's like you're trying to figure something out yourself. And I don't think everything always has to be explained to get the essential essence of it.
It's interesting.
Yeah, clearly the essential essence was she died at some point, that he somehow was, regrets the involvement in her death or lack thereof. So you get it. It's just, I don't know.
It's kind of strange, because you mentioned David Lynch, and it's kind of it's a really good compliment, actually. David Lynchy style a little bit, but I'm not a fan of David Lynch. I just don't get it. I'm probably one of the rare person who doesn't get David Lynch, But there was
even people that get David Lynch don't get David Lynch.
Don't get David Lynch. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It is very unsettling. I didn't expect, because you're kind of into the story, and I thought she was a robot for a second, the wife in the past. And then when it would put out cinema, and there was a girl with a script, and she was narrating, Actually, the narration at the start is beautiful as well, but it just, like, God, that's one thing I didn't expect. Yeah, it was a bit strange. Unsettling is definitely a word I would use for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I'll give you that. It definitely wasn't predictable, which was nice.
And obviously he'd carried this regret with him in his entire life. So it was almost an opportunity for him to get some sort of closure.
Yeah.
And you could say he did in the end. So it was a clever idea, and I thought it was well executed. Actually, that actor, I was looking him up. He's very well known. He's quite famous.
The older actor, is it?
Yeah. He did a lot of TV.
Okay.
He's in a few films as well. But he actually died a couple of years after that.
Did he?
Yeah, he was
After doing this film.
God.
Robert Hardley?
Yeah, Hardy maybe.
Hardy.
Yeah, so he's 1925, I think he was when he was born, so he would have been old enough. Like, yeah.
I think it was made in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
But it's just, he was brilliant. You can tell at even the start, this actor, he just has some beautiful presence about him. And even when he's in the cinema, just there's this lovely aura coming off the screen about him, and he really makes it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was made very well, I thought.
Yeah, really high quality.
Yeah.
It's funny, I didn't notice till I watched the second time. I think the painting is where they are, isn't it? It's the setting. Like, so, like, yeah, I think because in say where Cahill's picture is there, there's a house, and then Milo, you're
It's
showing
true. I didn't really notice it either till
yeah.
now that I'm
I
looking at
didn't
both of our
realize
backgrounds.
he's
Mhm.
painting. Yeah.
He's painting that setting. Oh, so sweet. Little
Isn't
subtle
it?
thing.
It is sweet.
All right.
In the picture.
You want to go first, Call, or
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, I'll put the cat among the pigeons. Yeah, I really like this film, so I'm going to give it 5 stars.
Wow.
5 stars? Wow.
Amazing.
Oof. I think it was nicely made, but beyond that, it just didn't. It just tried too hard for me. So I'm going to go 3 stars.
Okay. And for me, yeah, I think the message is there and some beautiful cinematography and amazing acting from Robert Hardy, but there's something unsettling and something that's quite missing for me and a little bit too sentimental. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
Well, there you heard it, No Budget Filmcast audiences. The film is called Joseph's Reel. So it's a short film. Go check it out and let us know what you think via a comment or reaching out to us on social media at No Budget Show on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And with that, we will say see you next time and goodbye. Goodbye.